The Parcel by Anusha Rani is the first book I've come across that I have struggled to give a rating to. This has never ever happened to me. Before I get into my review of the book, please like and subscribe and tell us what you think in the comments. This channel is like the pick and mix of BookTube. I read everything, so I guarantee there'll be something for you here. For the scores, The Parcel gets the following. Plot 60, characters 80. I really liked all the characters in this book and their backstories were interesting too. Emotional impact 40. I liked the book, but again, I wasn't emotional over it, or over the characters, or the story, even though I liked it. Pacing 75, writing style 90, themes 90, uniqueness 95, book cover 96, overall score 71.05. When I input my scores in my Excel sheet, calculated the overall score, I felt like this was a very fair score. This is one of the times where I appreciate my scoring methodology a lot, because if you'd asked me to just rate the book overall, I wouldn't have been able to give anybody a rating. But when I saw 71.05, I was like, okay, that's pretty fair, because I did like the book. This book follows the main character, Madhu, who is Hijra. That is a person that is a eunuch, so a person of the third sex. Madhu is also a transgender woman who has felt as though she was in the wrong body, even as a boy. Irani portrays Madhu's past as a he and Madhu's present as a she, especially since she underwent a procedure to become a eunuch. Madhu lives in a place called Hydra House, or Hydra House, I'll go with Hydra, where others like her do sex work. In this book, we get a history of how Madhu got here, her golden years as a top earning prostitute, her downfall, and her relation to other people within Bombay's red light district, which is where this book is set. Madhu's inner torment is portrayed brilliantly in this book, and that torment is heightened when Madhu is given a parcel, which is a child that has been sold into sex work. Madhu must prepare the parcel for life as a prostitute, and she has her own philosophy on how to induct someone into this world. Quote, Madhu climbed the stairs to the third floor, wondering if she should feed the parcel. She decided against it. It was too soon for her to provide any comfort. The first night was all about submission. Madhu plays the psychological game as opposed to the violence game when it comes to a parcel accepting their fate, with that fate being that they've been sold by their family, whether it be due to any sort of business arrangement or dishonor or shame that's being brought onto the family by this child. And we do explore a lot of that, honor, shame, family life in this book. But as seen throughout the book, Madhu has doubts, thoughts, wants, and needs, all of which go against everything she and people like her have been trained to do and think. Quote, she asked her heart to scrunch together any goodness it could, and she directed it toward him because he was making a broken object feel human. I like that Irani showcased that Madhu still had the capability to feel something for someone, even after decades of brutal sex work. So that's the plot of the book, and when I was reading it, I wasn't quite sure what to make of this book. Irani's prose are wonderful, and to be honest, this is a story that is carried by its wonderful prose. It kept me engaged because this is not a disturbing story. It's not gory or anything like that. It calmly tells us the way things are. It doesn't try to add any bravado or drama for the sake of it. The balance that Irani writes with is quite something, but at the same time it does cap it at a certain limit, to be honest. It reminds me somewhat of my review for The Children of Men book by P.D. James. Irani just finds his pocket a lot better. It's what doesn't make this book mid and disappointing like The Children of Men. But then again, both books do belong to two different book genres, but my point still stands. I won't lie, I do feel somewhat out of my depth with this book review, especially because of my usual procedure with reading and note-taking. I usually make notes as I read, and I don't annotate in books, mainly because I always have a Word document open. But for this book, the script was empty for the most part, which is strange. True, I've only been doing YouTube since, June, but still, I usually have something I do like that this book opened me up to another side of my creative self, because 99% of the script was written after I finished the book and really sat and digested it, which is a very high number, especially when compared to my other book reviews. But maybe that's how book reviews are supposed to be done. As I mentioned earlier, the pacing, due to Rani's excellent writing, is nice, steady, and low-key quick. I didn't feel like we were bogged down at any part of the book. The pacing really was a pleasant flow, kind of like a river current, just steady. I will say this too, the ending is fantastic. I loved it. I'm also including the epilogue in that too. The decision Madhu makes and the conclusion she comes to is quite something. I wasn't surprised, but a part of me was at the same time, just because there were so many ways to execute what Madhu did. But she chose a certain path, and that path was, I wouldn't say the best path, but it was a good path to go down. It was one of the better options, I would say, especially due to the big threat that was looming over everyone. Madhu really did the utmost damage, and it is confirmed in the epilogue too. I would recommend this book for those who really want to explore the life of a sex worker and transgenderism in fiction. I think if you're into that, then you'll really like it, especially given the Bombay setting and Irani's excellent writing. This book was a pleasant surprise for me. I saw this on Eric Carl Anderson's video about the most disturbing books he's read. I'm glad I read it, even though I didn't find it disturbing at all. Regardless, if you want to watch more book reviews, please click the playlist that's on the screen. There's something in it that you'll love, I promise you that. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening.